All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of our 2022-2023 NBA Mock Draft Prospect Recap. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, follow us on social at BTL Hoops. That's Instagram and Twitter. Visit our website at btlhoops.org. And again, like, comment, and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Prospect Recap. I'm your host, James Ivy Williams, and today I've got two of my regional analysts with me, and I will let them introduce themselves. Starting to my left, I will go with Lath.
Thanks for having me again, James. So my name is Lath Deman. This is my second year as a regional scouting intern here at Between the Line Sports, and I cover the Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas area.
All right, great, Lath. Next up, Kalen. Go ahead, Kalen.
Yeah, James, it's a pleasure to be back on and do another prospect recap with you. I'm Kalen Brown, regional scout and video intern here at Between the Line Sports.
Good stuff, good stuff. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. So we got a great slate of guys that we're going to go over today. Going to run down the list really quick, and then we will jump right into it. At number 58, we've got Grant Nelson out of North Dakota State University. At number 43, we have Mojave King out of G League Ignite. At number 28, we've got Jalen Hood-Schifino out of the University of Indiana, which is also Kalen's alma mater, by the way. At number 22, we've got Noah Clowney out of the University of Alabama. And at number 9, we have G.G. Jackson out of the University of South Carolina. So we're going to dive right into it. And Lath, you are up first with Grant Nelson.
Okay, so Grant Nelson averages 17.3 points per game, 1.8 assists per game, and 8.4 rebounds per game. He is shooting 53.4% from the field and 29.6% from three. He's the main scorer on North Dakota State, and the offense runs through him. Opponents, they get aggressive, sending double teams and multiple defenders, and they force others to make shots. Nelson's main skill set is driving to the rim. He has a quick and explosive handle for his size, allowing him to get easily to the rim. He doesn't have the tightest handle, but the explosiveness and quickness of the handle makes up for it. He changes speeds and directions well. He's crafty in faking and getting to the rim by faking dribble handoffs and passes to his teammates. And he gets the defense off balance doing that. He absorbs contact well and is able to finish through it. He has sneaky athleticism to him. He doesn't look athletic, but he's very athletic. He is able to jump over defenders. On straight line drives, he's fluid getting to the rim. When he has a smaller defender on him, he has shown the ability to spin off of them. But against when there are bigger, more athletic and more physical defenders, he doesn't spin off of them more easily. And then he's able to set teammates on dribble handoffs. His handle mobility and size allows for him to dribble handoff with his teammates, and he positions himself well on picks, making it hard for the defender to get through them.
Okay.
So his teammate is freed up for a high percentage shot. To improve his ability to play off the ball, to become an effective role player at the next level, he isn't fluid moving off the ball. He doesn't constantly move without the ball. Sometimes he gets a bit stagnant, but he's able to find the open space on cuts and catch and shoot three-pointers. With his shot, he's able to make open catch and shoot three-pointers. He has a quick release and fluid shooting mechanics when he is open. He was actually above a 30% three-point shooter last year, and this year it has fallen to about 26%. So if he can get back to the level where he can at least make above 30%, he will provide more spacing on the floor.
So my question was to you. So you said you talked about his shooting percentages from the 3-point line going down. Would that have anything to do with the fact that he's become the primary guy on this team this year? I think this is his junior year in college now. Do you think that has anything to do with it now that he's getting more attention as opposed to maybe his first 2 years at North Dakota State?
Yeah, for sure, because opposing teams' defense focuses all their attention on Nelson and leave others like really wide open.
Tell me this: what do you think is his most transferable skill set?
So His most transferable skill set is his ability to handle in the half court. And in the half court, he fakes passes and dribble handoffs and gets to the rim.
In the half court, I think he has a good first step too. I think he has a really good first step to get by guys. I mean, I don't think he's playing against the most athletic guys in that conference, but that's not to say that he still doesn't have a good first step, because I did see him blow by, what's the kid's name from Arkansas, Brazil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw him blow by him, give him a shoulder bump and dunk it in the lane. So like, and that's one of the most athletic guys in college basketball before he got hurt. And so he did that like it was nothing. Like he shedded him off him like it was nothing. So that was probably the most impressive play I saw him have all year, was that play. He drove baseline, bumped him in the chest, and went right up. And so on probably the most athletic guy in college basketball for sure. Moving on to Mojave King at number 43. This is my scout. So Mojave King, or G League Ignite, is a 6'5" small forward / wing. I currently have him listed as the number 43 prospect on our mock draft. His counting stats are 11.5 points, 3.7 rebounds, 1.8 assists, 0.6 steals. He's shooting 39.2% from the field and 38.6% from the three-point line. I've seen Mojave since his time playing for NBA academies, since he was about 16, 17 years old. The cool thing about Mojave is I think that he just knows how to play basketball. He's one of those guys that nothing necessarily jumps off the page, but when you look at a stat sheet or you are paying attention to a game, he's made an impact just by doing the little things. He makes an open shot, so he can catch and shoot from three. He's really good coming off pin downs and DHOs. He also does a good job with him shooting a really high percentage from three at 38.6%. What happens a lot of times, he gets run off the line. What he has in his bag, though, is a 1 or 2 dribble pull up from mid range, which is really good as well. He's got good size, so people don't really bother him. He can shoot over the top of smaller defenders. Another thing that I would like about him is that he has a nose for the basketball. He doesn't get a lot of rebounds, only averaging 3.7, but he does pick up timely offensive rebounds, or he'll have a timely putback dunk, things like that. So he just has a knack for sniffing out those kind of plays. Something else that I like about him is that he can defend on the perimeter. I don't think that he can necessarily guard ones who have some wiggle to them, but I think he's comfortable guarding 2s and 3s, and in a pinch some 4s at times. Not a small kid by any stretch, so he's strong. I think he's athletic enough. I don't think he's an elite athlete, but I think he's athletic enough. One of the things that I think that he needs to work on, in my opinion, is just his decision to be a little bit more assertive. I think playing with Scoot and some of the other guys, he kind of plays the background, which is okay in one sense, but I think he has the ability to do a lot more than he does. I think he just kind of picks and chooses his spots, which is okay, but I would rather see him be a little bit more assertive, especially with so many guys on that team getting looks and scouts being in the gym to see them every day. I think his ability to kind of covet a little bit more attention would help him and probably bolster him up our mock draft a little bit as well. Another thing that I probably think he needs to work on is the handle. The handle isn't bad, but he's more of a straight line driver. He's got a really good first step too. So really good first step, but I don't think he has a lot of east-west change direction kind of stuff. If he puts the ball on the floor and gets his heel to heel, he's going to go by you. And like I said earlier, he's athletic enough, so he will finish over the top of you, but I don't think he's an elite athlete by any stretch. And that's what I've got on Mojave. I think, again, a young guy that I've seen a bunch, and happy to see him over here. Got to see him earlier in the year when G League Ignite played Metropolitan 92, and then saw him again last month in January when they came to Birmingham and played the Squadron. And he played well in every time I've seen him play, but nothing spectacular or that jumped off the page at you or off the court at you. But overall, I like Mojave a lot. I like where we have him. I think that range of 40 to 43 is a good spot for him. And I think he's gonna, do well in the league. I think he's just one of those kids that knows how to play basketball, and he'll fit right in right away. Moving on, next we have Kayla, who has Jalen Hood-Schifino at number 28.
Yeah, Jalen Hood-Schifino, 6'6" combo guard at Indiana University. I was actually fortunate enough to go watch him this past weekend against Purdue at home, which I was really excited about because, one, it's a big game, rivalry game at home. Purdue's number 1 in the country. But two, IU was coming off a loss, and Jalen was probably coming off his worst game of the year against Maryland. He shot 1 of 14. This was a big bounce back game. I want to see how he would handle the pressure, handle the crowd, and then also handle just bouncing back from the terrible game and all the press that goes around in Indiana about Indiana basketball after bad games. My first impression was he's definitely all of 6'5", 6'6". He looks tall. He looks really old for his age. He has a strong lower body. He's not super athletic. He's not super explosive, but he's a good enough athlete. There's a lot to like about him, especially in this game. I thought he had a really good bounce back game here at Purdue. He showed a lot of poise. You could tell he's played in a lot of big games his whole life. Coming up playing at Montverde, he was really poised the whole time. He did a great job of letting the game come to him this game, I thought. He had 16 points, 4 assists, but it felt like he had 20 and 10, but it was all in the flow of the game. He played some point, and then they played him off the ball a lot, like out of dribble handoffs and out of pin downs. You could tell their game plan was to attack Edey all game, and he was the focal point of that. I thought he showed real maturity out of the pick and roll and made a bunch of really good reads, made a bunch of skip passes, snaked the pick and roll a few times to make some finishes and kick out his teammates in the corner. So I thought he had a really high-level floor game against Purdue, and also showed his ability to get to his bread and butter and hit a couple pull-up shots, which has been his bread and butter since high school, is 1-2 dribble pulls, especially going right. He's really good going right, shooting pull-up jump shots. IU ran an action a few times with him and Trace on the left side of the floor, where he came off the pin down and came off screen, and Trace handed it off to him, and he would take 1 or 2 dribbles right. They would kind of bait Edey, where he would kind of either have the decision to shoot a pull-up, falling away to the right, or he could dump it down to Trace, or sometimes he would even skip it to the left side to an open shooter. And IU hit some shots, so they ended up winning the game. He got in some foul trouble early, but I do think he is a good team defender. I don't think he's much of a disruptor on the defensive end. He's not going to get you a ton of blocks or a ton of steals, but he is a good team defender. He's strong, and he's athletic enough. He's always in position, but you can tell he's played in a lot of high-level basketball games, played for high-level coaches his whole life. So it definitely makes sense. Another impressive thing, too, was down the stretch when Purdue kind of made that stretch and pushed back towards the end and started to come back. Jalen brought him home. He had a big time play on defense where he pressured the ball late against Braden Smith, kind of helped cause a turnover, and then he also hit a big jump shot late. Then had the dunk at the end of the game to cap it off. Overall, he had a really good game. But looking forward, the things I do like about him are his ability to space the floor. He's at 1 point per possession on all jump shots per synergy. The only type of shot where he is less than 1 point per possession is his dribble jumpers, and he's at .955 points per possession, which actually ranks higher. It's in the 73rd percentile. Like I said earlier, that's kind of his bread and butter, is off the dribble shooting. One thing that I do think he could improve on is, because he's not that much of an explosive athlete, is his finishing. He ranks in like less than the 25th percentile on runners, layups, and shots closer than 17 feet in general. So that's one thing to work on. But I do think he is really crafty. So I think that's something that he could work on and improve on as well. But overall, I think there's a lot to like. I like his ability to play on the ball and off the ball as well. I think that if he can turn some of the long twos into threes, that's going to help him a lot moving forward. But I could see him having a really high floor, and I could see him ended up being like a Spencer Dinwiddie type of guy in the league if all goes well for him. And I definitely think he's worth the first round grade, I should say, that we have him in our mock.
He's a pleasant surprise. I didn't think that he was. Well, I thought he had NBA talent and an NBA. I didn't expect it to happen this year. I just didn't. And so for me, I remember when you first brought him up, I was like, hey, we really need to consider Jalen Hood-Schifino. He wasn't even on the radar, because based on how he came out of high school, I was like, he's probably 2 years. I just assumed he'd be 2 years. And so to see him doing so well at Indiana right away, commanding the offense, running the one, running the two, being confident in himself, and being able to see that on the court, it makes it easy to kind of see, because he already has the size. That's the thing. So that's the first thing that we talk about, is he has NBA size right away. He's not a skinny kid, so he's not going to get pushed around. He's not going to get pushed around by stronger guys. So he's going to be able to hold his own, and he has something that he can go to right away, which is a pull-up jumper that he can get to, and he also has the ability to play make for guys. But the thing I think I like about him, I know you say he's not explosive or athletic, but I think he uses his size and his strength to navigate, and like you said, the snake thing, or just getting guys on his hip. Like he's more savvy.
Yeah, he's good at keeping his defender in jail. Yeah, in the pick and roll, he definitely uses strength there.
For sure. If he gets you on his hip, like, you're pretty much going to be stuck there, because he's not going to let you catch back up and get in front of him, which I think is a very unique skill set for a younger guy to have. But I also think that's probably these guys coming from Mountain Berg who've kind of played in a more sophisticated high school system. I think that does set them up better at the college level in itself. And it's not surprising at all that he's where he is right now. So Jalen Hood-Schifino, man, I like him a lot. I think 28 is fair, and I would not be surprised if he bumped up spots as well. I think 15 to 30 is a good range for him to be in. I think depending on who's picking. So I think all these things are fair. I think it's just going to be based on who likes him and what needs may be when he comes up. But I think right out of the lottery all the way through the end of the first round, and I think any of those spots, I think he could fit and do well depending on where he goes. All right, so moving on, we have Noah Clowney, 6'9" forward or 6'10" forward from University of Alabama, freshman. Another kid I've seen since high school. Noah's counting stats are 10 points per game, 8.1 rebounds, 0.8 assists, 1.1 block, shooting 48.8% from the field, and a lackluster 27.3% from three. The thing I like about Noah is first, he's long, he's athletic, he runs the floor well, in particular rim runs. I think he will beat his guy down the floor more often than not. And if he has a point guard that can throw that over the top pass, Noah has great hands. He'll catch it and he'll finish it. That's one of the first things I like about him, his ability just to rim run and run the floor overall. Next thing I like about Noah, he does finish well around the rim. I know his shooting percentage overall is at 48%, but I think the reason why his shooting percentages are right where they are is because Noah gets a little shot happy from the 3-point line. And so when Noah gets shot happy from the 3-point line, like he's chucking that bitch just a little bit. And so I think if Noah was a little bit more selective with his three-pointers, I think his 3-point percentage would be higher. And then I think that will also boost up his overall shot shooting percentages as well, because he has really good shot mechanics on his 3-point shot. And I think it's fluid. And that's one of the things I know a lot of NBA scouts like about him is his ability to step out and make that three. Another thing I like about Noah is he can defend on the perimeter. I don't think that one of the things we want to make sure that we talk about is that I don't think any 6'10" to 7-foot guy is expected to guard a 1 or a 2 or a wiggle 3 well on the perimeter. All we want them to do is kind of contain a little bit until help comes. I think Noah has the ability to move laterally left or right and is athletic enough to stay in front of a guy that can put the ball on the floor a little bit. So if it's anything past 3 dribbles, I don't expect any big to really stay in front of anybody. So, but Noah has definitely the ability to defend on the perimeter. Another thing is like Noah actually, while he's slight in frame, Noah's a tough kid. He will mix it up on the interior. If you saw the game against Missouri a couple weeks ago, Noah was dominant on the interior, getting offensive rebounds, finishing around the rim. I don't think he even shot a 3 that game. I think everything that he did that game was all interior stuff in the paint, around the paint. And so Noah has the ability to mix it up, snag rebounds. And one of my favorite things I like about him, and I've liked this about him since he was in high school, was his ability to stay vertical on defense. Noah will put his hands up. He doesn't go for a lot of pump fakes on the interior. I think he knows he's long enough for you to have to shoot over him. And he knows that's probably going to be a harder shot for you to make. And so Noah does a good job of staying vertical, in my opinion. A couple of things that he needs to work on, obviously, I mentioned earlier, is his shot selection, and in particular, the shot happiness from the 3-point line. I think Noah early in the season was making a lot of threes, and so he said, fuck it, I'm going to start shooting. And so he started shooting it a lot. And I think his percentages dropped a little bit because he was definitely in the higher 30s earlier in the season. And I think in conference play, he's kind of dropped off a little bit. I got to see him earlier in the year at the PK Invitational Legacy event out in Portland. I plan to see him again soon before SEC play is over. I think for me, the biggest thing is the shot selection and to be a little bit more selective with his 3-point shot. Also, like, while he is a tough kid and, I would like to see him put on a little bit more weight and get a little stronger as well. I think that's going to come. I think the shot selection and the shot improvement will come. And I think he's going to get stronger overall because he's not like a scrawny kid. He has broad shoulders. So I think he's going to fill out and he's going to be just fine. But I think his ability to shoot from the 3, be a lob threat and pick and roll action, and run the floor well on top of his ability to mix it up on the interior and defend makes him a really solid prospect, in my opinion. I know some guys may have some different opinions, especially even in our group. I think everyone is not sold on Noah. I know when I saw him, he was another kid. He was like Jalen. I wasn't expecting this from Noah right away. And so when I saw him at PK, I remember typing in the group text, hey, put Noah on the list. And somebody was like, he only has 6 points and 6 rebounds. And I was like, but you're not seeing what I see. Like, there's some things are just transferable, and it doesn't always equate to stats. Sometimes you just kind of see how a guy moves, how he sets screens, like just where he is on the court and how he does it. It's hard to even explain sometimes, but the best thing I can say is I know an NBA player when I see one. That's probably the best way I can say it. And I knew it when I saw him. I was like, Noah a pro. And it wasn't something that I expected because, again, seeing him in high school, I didn't expect this right away. So, but it was definitely a pleasant surprise for sure. And I'm happy to see that, he's kind of staying on the radar of a lot of people. A lot of people that I know in the NBA space are definitely tracking him and targeting him for, if they're picking in a certain range, that he'd be somebody they would consider.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was one of those people at first. I was a little skeptical of Noah Clowney, but then I watched the Arkansas game, And I would tell anybody that wants to learn about Noah Clowney to go watch that Arkansas game, watch the film there, because that kind of sold me on him. He had a couple perimeter shots, had a couple blocks, like playing out of help on other guards, but also like playing one-on-one defense in the post. And I saw him slide his feet a couple times with Ant Black and Ricky Counts on the perimeter, so it was definitely impressive. There's definitely a lot of transferable skills there, and yeah, I definitely think he's in that similar range, like Fino, that 15 to 30 range.
Yeah, for sure. But he picked the perfect situation for him to be successful in too. I think sometimes it's all about where you go and being put in a position to be successful. I know a lot of kids like names and and again, both these guys we're talking about go to name schools, right? They go to Indiana, which is a blue blood, and he's going to Alabama, which is fastly becoming one of the premier programs in the country. But the styles of play matter. I think the styles of play matter. Who you're playing with matters. All those things. I'm not sure how selective Noah was in picking Alabama, but the way they play, they want their bigs to shoot threes. They want a lot of threes to be taken overall, and then having guys that are willing to pass the ball, and particularly Jaden Bradley, who's a willing passer. So like Noah kind of gets to showcase all of his skill sets, all of his attributes really well in this system. And I think maybe if he goes somewhere else, maybe it doesn't show as well. And so I think it was a perfect fit, perfect marriage. And I think that's why we're seeing Noah we're doing what he does right now, in my opinion. All right, moving on. Last but not least, we have Gregory G.G. Jackson from the University of South Carolina, currently slotted at the number 9 spot on the BTL Sports mock draft. GG is a 6'9" forward, a reclass too. So GG is actually a young 18. He just turned 18 this past December. So he's a young 18. He won't turn 19 until the end of the year. And so to think about what he was doing at the beginning of the season when he was 17 years old and he should have been a high school freaking senior says a lot. So GG Jackson's counting stats are 16.1 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 0.8 assists, 0.8 blocks, shooting 39.4% from the field and 34.4% from the three-point line. GG is interesting because I think while GG's a young prospect, and I think that's going to be intriguing, it's going to be one of the things that attracts teams to him. Sometimes his youth gets the best of him, and so while I'll get into that stuff in a moment. But some of the things that GG does well, in my opinion, he moves well without the ball. He's a really good cutter. He'll flash to the paint, dives from the elbows, and also plays the dunker area very well. He has really good hands. He's athletic. He'll finish above the rim, around the rim, in the lane. Another good thing about GG, he can shoot the three-pointer. As he shoots it well. I just saw him last weekend play against Arkansas and in Columbia. He hit 2 pull-up threes. 2 of his 3 field goals that game were both pull-up threes, and they both look fluid. They look solid. He shoots it very comfortably. It's one of the things that I like about him. I think it's one of the things that transfers for him as well. GG has a motor at times, and when his motor is going, he's hard to stop. Like when he's cutting and running the floor, being active on the glass, like he's hard to stop because he's such a bouncy and lively body is what I would say about him. And so those are some things I like about him. Also, I think he does rebound well. I don't think his numbers show it. I think that's probably sometimes a maturity thing as well. I think he kind of drifts out to the perimeter a little bit too much, which kind of negates him from picking up more rebounds. I think if he stayed on the interior, he could probably pick up a few extra rebounds per game. Things to improve on, I think, like I said, when he doesn't touch the ball on a consistent basis, he will drift and he will become disengage a little bit offensively and defensively. And I think that's one of the things that we saw recently. I think after the Arkansas game, he was a little upset, went on IG Live and kind of expressed his displeasure with how the end of the game went. But at the same time, being there in person, I noticed for a fact that he wasn't necessarily always engaged in the offense. And I think with him being the best player on the team, being an active, lively body, being the biggest guy on his team pretty much that's on the court most of the time, I think he has the ability to impose his will. And I think that motor, if he decides to just let that thing click and just go, plays drawn up for him is what he was talking about on the IG Live, or simply just getting touches. I think when the basketball has energy, but if you have energy, the basketball will find you also. So it's kind of twofold. So if you're playing with energy and high effort, you're going to get the ball, whether it's offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, or simply guys finding you on cuts and screens and things like that. I think those are the things I think he needs to just be a little bit more consistent with his motor. And I think the touches that he wants and the shots that he wants will just kind of come naturally within the flow of the game. Because like he said, they don't really call plays for him. So a lot of stuff he's getting just off of pure instinct, finding holes in defenses and just figuring out ways to get shots off. But yeah, 19 years old, well, 18 years old rather. Seeing him up close is one of the things. He's really 6'9", 6'10". But overall, I think GG's ability to just shoot the ball from the perimeter, be an active player, live body on the interior as a rebounder and a finisher around the rim, and his ability to kind of cut well. I think his ability to cut is one of the things I like about him the most. So, and I think while it's a hindrance for him right now, his ability to kind of play and not have plays called for him is a thing that people don't have to worry about. Because I mean, if you can go get 10, 12 points without a play being called for you, like that's an impact that you can have on the court immediately, and it's something the coach doesn't have to worry about you for. It's just simply I'm going to get you shots when you can get shots. It's a plus for GG being active as a cutter and being active around the rim. You guys got anything on GG?
Yeah, I was going to add, I think another underrated trait of GG's game too is because he can move so well and at his size, like you could throw him and guard someone on the post. In defense, he could switch and guard guards. You feel fine with him guarding wings.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's very versatile on defense, and there's a lot of tools on offense. I think a lot of people are going to overthink GG. I mean, like you said, he can play out of the dunker spot. Like he can face up and play out of the mid range. He's got a good face up game. He can stretch it, catch and shoot off the dribble, step backs, and like you could run big to big pick and rolls with him.
Yep.
Like he could be a hub on offense, like out of the elbow. Like there's just so many tools there at such a young age. So I'm definitely high on GG.
Yeah, he's probably. I mean, the best thing that we can probably call him. I think he's really a combo forward. I know we got combo guards. I really think he's a legitimate combo forward. He can play the 3, he can play the 4, and however you want it, he could probably get it for you. And again, the ability to defend on the perimeter and on the interior. I think he's a big basketball player that can do a little bit of everything, which makes him very, very attractive to a lot of teams, in my opinion. But let's recap really quick. At number 58, we had Grant Nelson out of North Dakota State University. At number 43, we had Mojave King from G League Ignite. At number 28, we had Jalen Hood-Schifino from the University of Indiana. At number 22, we have Noah Clowney from the University of Alabama. And at number 9, we have Gregory G.G. Jackson. Guys, I appreciate you guys for jumping on. This is literally my favorite part of the week now that we're doing these on a regular basis again. This is my favorite part of the week, just to get this out. And again, we get to talk about what we've been doing, what we've been watching. Guys, I appreciate you jumping on. And that's it. We're done. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Prospect Recap as we covered Grant Nelson from North Dakota State University, Mojave King from G League Ignite, Jalen Hood-Schifino from the University of Indiana, Noah Clowney from the University of Alabama, and Gregory G.G. Jackson from the University of South Carolina. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Stay tuned as we got more prospect recaps coming, along with a lot of other great video breakdowns, mock draft podcasts, you name it, we're doing it. Stay tuned. Between the Lines Sports. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at BTL Hoops. Go to the website at btlhoops.org and find us on YouTube where you're watching this video right now, BTL Sports. We'll talk to you guys soon. Till next time. Peace.